Saturday, June 5th, 2022. Today on the Daily Review, we discuss Baahubali. Baahubali. With your host, me, Joe Baraka, the professor. Anyway, this is another SS Rajamouli movie. After watching RRR and being turned on to this fucking genius director and how much fun he has making his movies, this is, my God, another epic adventure into the world of, I believe that this is a Telugu film. See, I'm learning, guys, right? It was filmed in that language and Tamil, or Tamil. I'm probably saying it wrong. Tamil. The southern part of India. And the hook, the opening scene is a woman is carrying a baby and she's got a fucking arrow in her back. And you're like, all right, okay. And then she's like going around, guards are chasing her down and she goes into this river and she's holding her baby up above the rapids. And you're like, oh, this is good. This is good for Western audiences because that is a Judaic Christian type story, which I'm sure originally came from India or from China or somewhere else. But that like Moses, baby in the river, kind of becoming the prophet. So it's like, oh, this is like the storytelling isn't so culturally different. Like there are things that a Western audience would instantly be like, oh yeah, okay, this is the hero's journey because these are human things, It's just the little cultural details that make them different and interesting and sometimes a bit inaccessible to different societies or whatever. Most of it, I think, is just marketing. The more marketing these movies get over here, the more they're on Netflix, the bigger and bigger and bigger they're going to get because they are so much fun. And like somebody said, like when I said that these big action epics are kind of like the silly action, is a little bit silly. Like it's a little bit like there's 4/5 gravity on Earth. But I don't mean that as a negative thing because someone's like, what the fuck? What about Fast and Furious? I'm like, yeah. No, I know. That's what I mean. We like that stuff. But Fast and Furious, kind of takes itself really seriously, So it's not the same thing. So we see this baby grow up in this river, grow up with these people, and he lives on the edge of this waterfall. It's very metaphoric, like growing up in life, the rapids of life, and feeling the desire to overcome this thing. And everybody's like, you can't climb that waterfall, and you're like, but what's up there? And then this mask comes flying over, and he's like, after he carries this big stone, which is like this, like a religious symbol where the waterfall needs to be he moves it under the waterfall and it's always satisfied, the stone of life or whatever. And that's very much like Excalibur, him being able to pick that up. Everybody's like, he is the chosen one kind of thing, And he's rewarded with this mask and he becomes obsessed with it. And he's like, I got to climb up there. And they really establish these ideas of faith and passion, and which is great because people are like, well, how do you know there's anybody up there? It's so good. It's such a good little metaphor, And then he falls in love with this woman, Avanti. That sounds right. Avantika. I'm not. These are all new names to me. And she vows to help her rescue Devaserva, the former queen of Masharati, whatever, and get him back from the evil king of Bahaladava, or whatever. And he's got this mace that has a huge ball on it. Then when he swings it and the fucking chain can extend, it's sweet. So yeah, all that stuff is pretty good, but it takes these tangents, these 20-minute tangents to tell you backstories and introduce characters like my favorite character, Katapapa, although they were calling him Katapali, so I don't know if that's a pronunciation thing. And so yeah, eventually it leads to a war. There's a whole big. There's so many things to talk about. I mean, the movie's an hour or 2.5 hours, and it's like trying to describe Lord of the Rings. It's got a Lord of the Rings and Crouching Tiger kind of vibe because it's very good versus evil. hero journey kind of musically. The score is very Lord of the Rings. And plus this one's got bangers, man. It's got the score, which is great, but then on top of that, it's got songs, and musical numbers, and they're great. They're so catchy, and they help tell the story so well. And I'm really loving that aspect of some Indian films, the musical aspect. I really think it's a cool way to tell the story and to kind of like slow the movie down for a second. And they're so good. It's so visually interesting, and there's like casts of thousands. Like it's good. Got a lot of people together to do this. Now, the effects are not as good as RRR. This is 2015. You could tell they're a little bit behind the times there, or I think maybe they just had too many CG shots that they had to complete because it must have taken like a million years, because it's very, very ambitious. But they do a really interesting thing that, now correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm over-intellectualizing this. Whenever there is a bull or cow on screen that isn't real and is in danger, in very small letters in the corner, it says CGI, computer-generated image. And now, I only noticed that. Now, maybe this isn't true. I didn't notice it with the elephants or with the other things that are clearly computer-generated. But I did specifically notice it with the bull. And is that because of the cultural significance of the cow in religions in India? And I might be completely wrong, and maybe every time there was a CG animal on screen it said that, but I only noticed it that once, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting, because there's like a religious significance to that animal. So it's really, they don't want the audience to be like, what the fuck are you doing, just smacking a bull around, I think it's that was really like a little insight, unless I'm wrong. Now, the strangest thing about it, and maybe the most brilliant thing, is that the movie basically has a climax, and then it's like, let me go back, let me set this up for you. Like, normally a movie would have started with this scene, but it's because that scene ends with an important reveal that would have ruined the rest of the story. So it's kind of a Tarantino move, where it's like, all right, we've seen the climax, we've seen like the good versus evil battle, we've seen the war, and then it goes back and ends with like a cliffhanger, proving, revealing something, and you go, oh, and it goes to credits. I would have crapped in the theater if I had to wait a year, because it just goes, and then it goes, Baahubali, the conclusion. Yeah, this one's called The Beginning. Cleverly, The Beginning. The next one's called The Conclusion. Now, I watched the Hindi version. Does that mean it's any different, or does that just simply mean that it's been dubbed into Hindi? That was something that was what I was questioning. I was wondering if there was a difference, and if so, why would there be a difference? Also, this maybe has the most people smashed over the back of the head with discarded wood than any other movie I've seen. Like, you could play a drinking game where you take a shot every time, and like half into the movie will be wasted. That woman in the beginning, she gets smacked over the head, I believe, with a piece of wood, and it like explodes. And I went, oh shit! You don't usually see that. That's like everybody's kryptonite in this movie is a smack to the back of the head with a big log. It's true of most people. This movie is really getting in there. I liked it. I thought it was cool. They were cool. At one point, this guy gets our main guy, Baahubali, gets this lion fist thing. You know what the one thing is that the one thing that's a problem is that we kind of believe that he's Baahubali the whole time. So when it's proven to the people, that revelation, I think, probably could be a little bit better. Like, we should not be so sure of it. But as an audience member, you're like, this dude's badass. So that's the one thing that they could have balanced out. But hey, man, they made up for it by doing this interesting third act thing, which is totally a non-Western way of storytelling. I think it's so cool that they're not trying to make a fucking Hollywood story. They're doing it their own way, and they came up with a way that's so fucking original and fun. So I really liked it. I did not like this as much as RRR, I don't think, because there was my own ignorance sometimes left me a little bit confused about what was happening in this movie, which is, I know, that's my fault. But I think I will give it a very solid B plus, and I will definitely be watching the conclusion and reviewing that either tomorrow or the day after. So stick around till if you want to hear what happens. You can like and subscribe. If you like to subscribe, I'm here every day. You can be here as much as you want. So if you want to hear my feelings on the conclusion of Baahubali, then let me know. And how should I spell it in the title? Should I do the A with the tilde over it, or should I do the double A? Guys, I'm trying to learn. Teach me all about the Indian culture, because I am fucking on board, baby. It's a blast. I do realize that these 3 movies I watched are not the entirety of Indian culture, but I just mean these type of big blockbusters. Somebody asked me if they think RRR will win like any awards in America, and I think that we're not fully appreciating them here yet in America, but I do think it'll happen in the next year or two. Something will be nominated for Best Picture, international, Oscar, and then maybe once one wins that, I would love to in the next 5-10 years see an India cinema film win the Oscar for Best Picture like Parasite did, because you know what? There's a lot of fucking Indian people, and they'll probably be really happy, and it would just be really cool to get a larger diversity of storytelling out there in the Hollywood machine, especially with big budget movies. That's really the thing. You see all sorts of different types of cinema with all these interesting, unique stories, but they're in every country in the world that makes movies. But they're usually like, they don't get the attention in their very small budget. These things, that's what turns me on about these things. These are like multi-million-dollar movies that people are doing original things with that are different than the American multi-million-dollar movies. It's so beautiful. Anyway, I talked too long. So talk to you guys tomorrow. I might do something else, but I will definitely Monday, Tuesday at the very latest do Baahubali 2, the conclusion. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful Sunday. Thank you for subscribing and liking. I love you all. Check this movie out. It's on Netflix. Peace.